Good evening, welcome back to another episode of Holton Talks. You're joined tonight by myself, Scott Acton, and Jamie Acton. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, very well, very well. Um, Been a few days since we've done a last episode. A few things to talk about, which we'll get through. We're going to touch on the Roma friendly last night, McGinn bid that come in today from Everton, and then the potential signing of Evann Guessand, if I'm saying that right.
I
But
don't. I
no,
don't think none of us know how the second name's spelt,
yeah.
like how it's
I've
said.
heard,
Sorry.
it's like a French twist
Yeah.
to it. And we'll touch on him. Obviously, that's not confirmed yet, but it looks like it's going to happen. First things first, we'll start with last night's pre-season game against Roma. Now, they are a week behind in terms of preparation, but that first half in particular, we look very good. And I know it's pre-season, you shouldn't get carried away. But to be fair, that was quite impressive, wasn't
Yeah. I mean, you alluded to it there about the week behind. Yeah. I mean, the sharpness from the off you could just see. The first half. Well, I mean, the 90 as a whole, I thought was our best of all of pre-season, especially the first half. Though, some of the football we were playing was so nice to watch. Like pressing high up. Obviously at times having to sit in and allow them to have the ball, but picking our moments and pressing high, just attacking with so much freedom. It was nice to see Bogard playing right back as well again, just showing his versatility. But yeah, by far our best performance of pre-season.
it? Yeah, I've seen quite a few things saying that we need to maybe tactically evolve slightly, just to obviously keep changing it year on year so you don't become predictable. Have you noticed anything? Because I agree, yesterday's performance was definitely the best 90-minute performance. I personally haven't noticed too much from what we saw last year, apart from maybe we were going slightly longer at times yesterday to try and like change it up slightly.
Yeah, obviously it's something they worked on training, but it was both with Martinez and Bezo that they were going. So the first half it was to Ollie, second half it was to Marlon. They were going long, and then and then they were coming like. I mean, the distribution has to be on point, which it was, but they were coming literally to like anywhere in front of them, and they a lot of the time they were even just using their studs just to literally tap it in front of them, and then someone whoever's playing as the 10 was just coming in behind, then laying it off to the winger, and it happened so many times. It happened again towards the end of the second half when McGinn played as the 10. I think he had Ealing Jr. on the right, and you had Marlon up front, and Jim Ologo on the left, I think it was. And yeah, they just kept it in McGinn, and McGinn just kept literally kept coming into him. And sometimes you can lay it off with your chair. Sometimes, you just cushion it in front of you, but they're cushioning it with a way of their studs. There's obviously a focal point that they saw that they had a gap in their like their DM spot where it was just there's acres of room there where they could literally just go direct. They know that Martinez or Bezo's distribution is going to be good, so when it comes into that number nine's chest or lower body area, someone getting in front of him and then literally just playing it out wide. We done it 4 or 5 times last night, and it was something that I obviously again we've been long a lot of times, but a lot of the time it's spinning in behind, and Ollie's running on the end of it. Whereas a lot of the time it was into feet yesterday, which was quite cool to see. I liked in the second half, Cash got forward a lot, so they obviously changed something tactically there. Where he was obviously we saw like he says about evolving tactically. You know, not last season, the season before we had that spell where we had Ezri at right back, and then you had Cash playing right midfield, and then we also had I think it was when Booba was dropping in to make a back three. We've seen shades of that this pre-season as well, but I mean I'm no Unai Emery, so I can't say what exactly he's doing. But the only things I've noticed is Cash, especially last night, was being very very brave. Like the amount of runs he was making off the ball into the box was what you want to see from a right back, from your so-called attacking right back, and also the how direct we were going straight into the nine, just to feet and not gambling on them spinning in behind and getting on the end of it. It was just more as more of a safety option going into their feet and then playing out wide from there, which was was cool to see.
Yeah, yeah. I think completely our best performance for the whole 90. You touched on the 10 getting involved, which was obviously Buendia last night. Um, I said on the last pod that we did when we were ranking the transfer window, I personally don't think Buendia is the answer, but I'm going to say credit where credit's due is he had a very good game last night. And if he was to be like that every week, he's got a chance of being involved this year. We don't know what's going to happen, and we'll come on to obviously the potential signing of Guessand or whatever his bloody name is. Um, but we'll touch on Buendia. I thought a lot of players played well yesterday, but the free kick, he had the balls to step up and say, I'm taking it, when there was players like Tielemans on the pitch and people like that who might have fancied it. He then set up, I think it was him that put the cross in for Ollie's goal.
Yeah.
Do you think he's got a chance this year?
Um, it's funny enough you say that. Last night when the game was going on, I was thinking to myself how he's been this pre-season. He's been one of our best players, and it's unlucky for him that you arguably have one of the best, the best player in our team that plays in this position. If
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Rodgers went off injured last night. Apparently, it's not that serious. But God forbid, if touch wood, if Morgan ever gets injured, you like for like, Emmy's probably the next in line. Well, I mean, you have so many players that can play that role. A Tielemans will probably be preferred, and McGinn will probably be preferred, even a Marlon maybe.
Yeah.
But like for like, you're probably looking at Buendia. So the way he's playing, he looks so hungry. Like I remember that there was a spell last night where JJ was going forward with the ball in the first half, and it was on transition on the counter, and he lost it. And JJ was slow to track back, so Buendia ran from his base. He was with Ollie. Obviously, he was playing off him as a front two, and he just ran and caught right up with their right back. It was Wesley Franca who we nearly signed instead of Garcia in January. He caught up with him, and as he caught up with him, Wesley then went past him, but then he didn't give up. He kept following him, and then eventually won the ball. And then I was thinking, then I was like, God, like you can see he wants it so much. And there's pros and cons with him. The pros is that he's one of the only players in the team that would try those sort of passes that are just not safe. Like if someone's making a run in behind, he's gonna if there's a slim chance he's gonna try and play that ball. The
Yeah.
cons with Buendia is also that he tries to play every ball that he sees. But again, with the PSR issues, if we aren't to sell anyone and we have Buendia still in the team, how he's been this pre-season, I don't see why he can't. Because at the end of the day, Rodgers is going to start every single game in the Prem and like the big Europa League games, the big cup games. He's going to start all of them. We want him. He looked like, I think we spoke about it. Like there were times last year where, especially on the right, he did look a bit burnt out. So if you're having a player like Buendia, who is Premier League quality, yeah, he's not up the level of Rodgers. He's not probably a European football, level player, but you're looking at a good mid-table player to come in and play those early cup games, to play those group stage Europa League games, to play, at home against Burnley when you've got, Frankfurt on the Thursday night or whatever. That's the kind of depth you need in order to succeed. And I feel like, for me personally, I would like him to stay around unless obviously a nice bid comes in. I know Leeds were linked with him, weren't they, at the start of the
Yeah.
window? But that's kind of cooled down a bit. But as far as pre-season goes, I don't know if you remember as well when he done 2 seasons ago when he done his knee again. He was so good in pre-season. I think he scored away at Valencia. We won 2-1, I think, and he scored. It was him and Coutinho, I want to say. And yeah, he scored and he was man of the match that game. And then he got injured after that in training. And I was like, obviously we didn't have no Rodgers then, but he looked good then and he's looking even better now. And he provides that unpredictability. And if you can get anything like the Buendia that you saw this preseason, preseason 2 years ago, the Buendia at Norwich, he gets you up off your seat, and that's at the end of the day, that's what you want. It's the same with Bailey. Bailey 2 years ago, he got us off our seat. That's what you want from these sort of players.
Yeah, I was going to touch on Buendia from 2 years ago because I think he was probably firmly in Emery's plans and then obviously done his ACL. Now,
Mm.
we don't know what Emery's thinking, which is fair enough. I think you're right. I think if there's an offer that comes in, that's someone that they can move on and get to, 15, 20 million for, then they'll take it. But if he plays like he played last night, then he's definitely got a chance of being in and around it. And like you said, there's a good option. Cup games, Europa League games, to give Morgan a rest. But like I said, I'll give him his due. He had a good, had a good game last night. There's a couple of other players. We'll touch. Ollie and Marlon scored again, which for them both is great. I thought Ollie looked really sharp again. Marlon comes on, gets his goal. I mean, Ramsey's goal, the ball from Tielemans is a joke, an
Mm.
absolute joke. The other one I really want to touch on is Jamoa Aloha. He come
Hello.
on for Rodgers, didn't he? And we talk about like Rodgers being brave on the ball, Buendia, we just touched on, but he took it in a couple of really dangerous areas yesterday. Was brave enough to turn, showed good pace, good power to get away from his player. Nowhere near the finished article, but he's definitely got a chance of being in and around the first team a lot more this season.
Yeah, and it's that fine line between do you keep him around and he gets 15, 20 games off the bench and starts the odd one, or do you send him out on loan to, a high-end League One team, a Championship club, and see how he gets on? And everyone has the argument about like Phil Foden and stuff being under the tuition of Guardiola, and I'm in that camp where why can't Jim Olova stick around, and he has Unai Emery to work off. He's one of the best in the business, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I was watching it with the old man, and I was like, as soon as he came on, the turn was sublime, and the shot, it's the power he could generate. Um, Looks good, and it's just another sign of the smart recruitment that we've done. Because I think we signed him from West Brom. I think last year was last year his first year, or the year before that was his first year. So he's only recently just signed from West Brom. So it's him, and then also last night, um, George Hemmings came on in midfield. I think we signed him from Forest as well. So it's like
Yeah,
it's
he looks class. He looks really good. Both feet, can play with both feet, gets around the pitch well. I mean, I don't think we'll
yeah.
see too much of him. But I was watching him last night thinking, you've got a bit about you. The fact that you couldn't really tell if he was right or left footed, and that is such
Mm.
a rarity, and that's just that really is something you don't see. But he looks so comfortable. And again, taking the ball in tight areas, under pressure when you're on the edge of your own box. Yeah, like I said, I don't think we'll see too much of him. I think he might get a loan, but he's definitely one to look out for, Hemmings.
Yeah, yeah, and it's the case of like because he has a good stature for an 18-year-old kid. It's like okay, yeah, he goes out on loan this year, he might go on loan the year after, maybe even the year after that. But you look at Barkley, you'd imagine in 2, 3 years' time he's not going to be around. Our midfield at the minute, it's going to be hard if you imagine all of McGinn, Buba, Tielemans, Onana,
Yeah,
all those four going to be there in 3 years' time? You don't know. So if that's
yeah,
the
that's what I
case,
mean.
yeah, if that's the case, then you have a player in Hemmings there that might have by that time 100 EFL appearances under his belt in the championship. Say he can then step in and instead of spending 60, 70 million on someone to replace Bubka Kamara. And that's what the mould that I want to see us kind of go down. It's the same thing, if JJ goes, I know it's contradicting because we've just signed, well, we're supposedly signing your man from France, but if, say for example, a JJ goes and then a Bailey goes, why don't you use Jim Olova? And again, I know it's quite raw now, but in next season or 2 seasons' time, all the wingers we have now, all the strikers and the tens we have now, aren't all going to be at the club. So instead of spending that flashy money. Why don't we use these players that are looking very, very promising?
Yeah, it was the whole point of pre-season. I think Emery said it himself.
Mm.
It's a good chance for them to get integrated into the first team squad. I mean, Hemmings, you got to feel a bit sorry for because I think Tielemans played very well last night. Kamara, it's just been solid all pre-season. Anana, when I like to see him do it more, but there was a couple of times last night he was getting it, driving. He looks so like powerful and he's hard to stop, like the Yaya Toure kind of mould. I'd like to see him do a bit more of that this year. And then, like I said, you've got Barkley, McGinn that can play there. So he's got a lot of competition in front. But really, you can't really. I know we had a couple of iffy goals that we give away in America, and obviously being 2-0 up at Nashville and coming back and whatnot. Um, you know, disappointing. But playing a team like Roma, that's a good workout, and we look so sharp. We've obviously got two more friendlies left before Newcastle, which I think you'll see a lot of players get 90 minutes in them. But quite a promising evening, I thought, all in all.
Yeah, no, very good. And like you alluded to on the weekend there, I'd imagine you'll have two teams, two separate 11s with the bench full of youngsters. Be
Yeah,
interesting
because
to
I
see.
think Bezo will have to get 90 in one of them because obviously Emmy's not there, and and you probably get an idea of whatever team he's in with that back four. I'd imagine is more than likely to be the back four that start um,
Yeah,
against Newcastle. We'll come on to McGinn. Now, we'll talk about a couple of current players. So, Luca Dean signed a new contract today, and we'll just quickly touch on that because I think him and Tyrone Ming should be amended because I think they've lowered their contracts to what they were on, which helps with PSR and the UEFA, score cost rules. So, a lot of players don't do that anymore. He wasn't mega money, but he was still quite a lot of money when he come from Everton. Been a really good servant, good player. You'd do well to get two better left backs than Luca Dean and Matson. So I think fair play to him. And then obviously we did do an episode about McGinn a few weeks ago, saying what it would take for someone to sign him. Now apparently Everton bid 18 million. It got turned down, not for sale. Newcastle are interested. I mean, I just can't see it unless it's an astronomical bid. But when it come up, I obviously put it into our Villa chat and just sent a few laughing faces because I just can't see a world that McGinn isn't at Villa for another few years. I mean, when you heard it, what did you think?
I found it strange because he's so underrated. And someone at work said to me, "Oh, Jay, Everton just bid it for McGinn, 18 million." And I was just like, "You're not take that for a 30-year-old." And I was like, "You don't realise that he's our captain. He's our most versatile player. And for a lot of people, he's like the first name on the team sheet. He's so
Yeah,
important for everything we do. All the big games, every big game we've played, he's been involved in. You look at the FA Cup semi-final, the PSG, both legs. Away from home, he was arguably our best player. At home, he was again arguably our best player. Every big game he's played, and he just. I'd be again annoyed if we were to ever sell him because I want him to retire at Villa, and then the only club I could ever see him move into is Celtic. But then, from a financial standpoint, we're struggling with money. Would again, Everton come back in for say like 28, 29 million, 27 million, or whatever? I don't know if that's enough to bring Villa to the table. I don't know, but he's just if you take just McGinn as a footballer, you take away Arsenal, Liverpool, and probably not even Liverpool's midfield to be fair, because it's not even that great. Like City's midfield, yeah, you take that one away, but and maybe Newcastle's. He gets into a lot of Premier League teams, and it's just
yeah,
for Everton. No disrespect to them, but for Everton to say, okay, yeah, I know you have the whole Scottish connection with Moyes and obviously McGinn, but for them to think, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we're going to bid £18 million for a top caliber footballer to come to our club, the captain of a European team, to come to our club and be our best player. It's just, I don't know, it's wild to me. But after the bid got rejected, it came out on the Athletic that we're on about offering him a new contract now because the contract runs
yeah.
out in 2 years' time, I think, in 2027. So hopefully we could sign him to a deal that could kind of see him and his career at Villa through. Because I for one don't want him to leave because he is, everything that he. Same thing with Mings, and even though all the talk about him, same thing with Martinez and even Ezri. To be fair, like they know what it is about Villa, like they know about the fans. They know that no matter how many times we play out from the back, that like they know the fans are going to get on like like how Ant is your old man. Like everyone's going to be on the edge of their seat and be like, oh God, no, not this. And they know that if you don't pull your weight, the Villa fans will soon know about it. Mings has said that in interviews. McGinn has said that in interviews, and they understand what the club's all about, and they've been there, especially Ty and Guinea. They've been there through that transition of okay, yeah, we're playing Burton Albion away tonight. To we're playing PSG away. So yeah, I for one don't want to see him leave for a very long time.
Nah, me neither. And like you said, you made a couple of good points. So for him personally, he's 30 now. He's probably got another 2, 3 years at the top. Why would he want to swap European football to Everton? Now, I like Everton as a football club, and I think they're obviously moving into the new stadium, but it just doesn't really make any sense for him to leave Villa when he's still playing a lot of games. Very important to what we do. Um, Again, we don't really know Everton's in and out, so I don't know. Would it be a case of I've seen David Moyes say we need more players? Is this like put out to the fans to say we're putting bids in, but players don't want to come? This is the type of player we're going for, like one of them kind of scenarios. I might be wrong because, like I said, we don't know enough about Everton's situation to really comment too much, but don't really make any sense, and I'd be shocked. Listen, every player's got a price, but I'd be shocked if McGinn ever leaves. Yeah, well, obviously he'll leave at some point, but leaves in particular this transfer window. But
Yeah,
we will see. Um, yeah, the last thing we'll touch on then is, I mean, like we said earlier, it's not done, but it looks like we're about to pay around 30 million euros for Evann Guessand. I'm going with, but
that's
you all
probably
know I'm
how
on
I would
about.
say it. Yeah, that's probably how
Yeah,
you should just call him Evan.
like, or your man from France, as you said.
Oh, your man
Um,
from France. He's actually from Ivory Coast, to be fair, but
Ivory Coast, yeah. I mean, I've not seen
Qu-
too much of him. I've obviously gone on and done what everyone else has done and gone on YouTube, but he's 24, so he's a good age. 6'2". He played 33 games for Nice last season. They finished fourth, 12 goals, 8 assists. I mean, I was listening to, I think it was Kevin Hatchard on Talksport, and saying a lot of he was shocked that Premier League clubs hadn't come in for him earlier or weren't looking at
yeah,
him. I think he predominantly plays off the right, which would fix that problem, but can obviously play anywhere across the front line. Now, obviously, in terms of PSR and money, we knew that not a lot was happening. So for that to come out quietly, typical Villa yesterday, it just kind of breaks right when it seems like, yeah, it's a miracle and that's all that's left to do. Um, do you know much about him?
not a great deal. I know that he started as the nine and then dropped back. I think they had a change of manager and he dropped back as like a right-sided 10. And we were doing a
Yeah,
similar thing towards the end of last season where we had Ollie and Asensio and Rogers sometimes in possession. But he dropped back and became a right-sided 10. But yeah, I mean, he has a physical presence. Like I think he's six foot
yeah,
one. And I was listening to I think it was Talk Sport last night. Um, Kevin Hatchard was saying that he gets you up off your seat, but it's not necessarily he has a trick in him, but it's more so the fact that he is very strong for a player in his position, so he can just roll. It's a similar to a Rogers. That's the only way. My old man said to me, he was like, "What kind of player is he like?" And I said, "I was like, if I had to kind of pick." He's not as good as
yeah,
Rogers, but I said he's a similar player to Rogers with his frame, the way he's built, and the way he can drift with the ball. Again, he's not as great as Rogers dribbling wise, but he has that and that added bit of finishing. So I'm quite excited because he's versatile. He could play as a nine. He could play off the right. He could play off of volley sometimes or off of Marlon. Um, it just gives that again. We know how Unai operates. He loves to have versatile players. There's only a few players in our team that can only play one position. So
Yeah,
I'm I'm excited, and again, I like the fact that I think Neon FC, who apparently were in for Bailey at the earlier on in the window, he had a contract offer from them for like I think it was like 300 or grand a week, and he turned that down. And the Palace deal apparently was quite advanced, and then straight away he turned that down when he heard Villa was interested. So
yeah, I
the
heard
whole
that.
the whole Saudi thing is a good is a green flag because he's turning down you know generational wealth for his career, which is obviously what you want to hear. And we've we've had so many problems with Palace. It feels like we've actually won against them for once. So it's nice to actually him to say, oh no, I'm because he is a very much a Palace player. The way he plays, the way that Glasner sets up with his two tens, he would have suited that team perfectly.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I for one am excited for him coming in.
yeah. From what I've seen, I kind of got like a Rodgers feel. It reminded me a bit of Semenyo at Bournemouth. That kind of dynamic, pacey, powerful, strong, good ball carrier. Like you said, Unai definitely likes different um, players that can play in, like multifunctional players that can play in different positions. I'm excited as well. I think, listen, I love that Villa have just gone and got it done. No journalists know what's going on. It's a bit annoying for us because we want to know everything. But listen, they're going about their business quietly. I don't think that. I think we'll see maybe one more and potentially a loan if we move out of Bailey or a Buendia. But in terms of getting someone in, perfect. If you're looking at players
Yeah,
like Mbuemo or Semenyo that are similar, you'd be paying double that because of Premier League tax. So
yeah.
yeah, but
I think as well that like how Unai kind of operates. The longer you have with him, the better for Blue you get. You look at every single player we've got.
yeah, 100%.
Everyone's improved under
Yeah,
Unai, and a lot of talk has been on Matson this season. Like, okay, yes, his second season now. Rogers, it was his second season. Duran kicked on when it was his second season. So it's just like, and like when Dia had that pre-season in the second season under Unai. So it's like, it's that whole thing about, no, not lay off him, but if he comes off the bench, makes 3 or 4 appearances, and makes a few starts in the Europa League group stage games or the early cup games or whatever, and he doesn't seem quite what you expected. We thought that of Rodgers, we thought that of Matson at the early parts of last season. There was times last season with Onana, me included, were questioning him. So it's just like I think give him time, let him learn everything Unai wants from him, and then it might even be the case that he might get because I think he got 20 goal contributions last season. It was
yeah,
13 goals, 8 assists, or 21 goal
yeah. 12
contributions.
goals,
So
8 assists. Yeah,
yeah, so it might even be the case that he might only get 10 goal involvements this year, and most of them coming off the bench. But you don't know what next season holds. If we sell an Ollie, if we sell a Marlon or a Rogers or whatever, he comes in again. When Diaby went, we were like, oh god, who's going to replace him now? And then up step Rogers. I think will be a similar case. You have
yeah,
to give him time, let him have this season, or how if he needs that, he might come straight away, and he might be starting 3 or 4 game weeks in. He might be starting, and we're thinking, God, he's one of our best players. If he ain't there, if he ain't playing, he's on the bench. You're thinking, God, like we're screwed. Do you know what I mean? So we don't know how it's going to go, but all I'm saying is, just give him some time, let him settle in, and let Unai kind of work his magic.
yeah, yeah. I think it ticks a lot of boxes, and I think if you think now about our attacking players, Ollie looks very sharp in pre-season. Marlon looks very sharp. Rogers, and then I think JJ looks sharp. Throw in Guessand into the mix, and you think, God, imagine a front four of him, Rogers, Marlon, and Watkins at some point. I don't think you see that often, but you probably will see it at some point, and that's quite a scary in terms of pace and power, and that it's got a good look to it. I know we
Yeah.
done our transfer show on the last podcast. The more I think about it, and the players that we've kept, and now adding this, and if we can add maybe one or two, I still think we're in a really good position. I think it shouldn't be too much doom and gloom. I know we've not been too doom and gloom about it, but yeah, it ticks a lot of boxes. That
Yeah, and like if you look at first 11 and second 11, if you treat Bogard as a right centre half, which is one of in his top two position, probably his second best position, we
yeah,
are stacked when you think about it. You got
yeah, the
Bizo
squad's good.
Martinez, yeah,
Yeah,
Bizo Martinez, Torres Mings, Consa Bogard. You got Cash Garcia, or even Tristan Rowe. I was impressed with him in pre-season. You have
yeah,
Matson Luka Dean, Uber Tielemans, and behind them Barkley Onana, and the front line can just obviously you have Watkins and Rogers as probably the two that are going
yeah.
to be starting as that front two. But then you look out wide, you got Buendia, JJ Marlon, and you got this new lad coming in, Bailey. Even McGinn can play there as well
McGinn,
as central.
Ramsey. Yeah,
Yeah, and then if that Jimmo, a few injuries happen and Jimmo then comes in, Jimmo Aloba, or he goes out and like there's so much depth we have. I feel like you know, again, a lot of us would like, maybe why don't we get a right centre half to back up Esri? I think that's what everyone wants. Maybe another right back. That's what people want. But what we have now, depth wise, is still so good.
yeah, 100%, 100%. I just think, yeah, not losing Emmy as it stands, not losing Booba, Ollie. If we can shut the window and it's like that, and we can add maybe one more. I think the later it goes, there'll be a lone attacker of sorts, whether that's a Grealish or Asensio potentially back again, or I don't know, Sancho, someone like that. I think we've got our eye on something like that, and I think we might see maybe a right-sided defender of sorts. I don't know whether that would be a right back or a right centre back, but that's just my
Yeah,
thoughts
I
on it.
can definitely see something late on. Whether that again a loan with an option to buy maybe for like
Yeah,
next
well, a
season.
lot of a lot of selling clubs are going to want certain players off the wage book, aren't they? So I think that obviously works in our favour then. But
100%, yeah. And again, all it
we'll,
takes is for us to sell. If we sell one player, all of a sudden that frees up so much room in the kitty for us to be like, okay, yeah, we can go for that right centre half and that left winger now. You
yeah,
sell again, argument's sake,
100%.
you sell JJ for 40 million to West Ham. You can then spend that because again it's spread out over contracts. You could then spend the £50 million on a again. I think he's going Chelsea now, but a Garnacho, and you can then spend again for argument's sake, you could spend another 35 on Dumfries at right back.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
by selling one player and putting those two players on 4 or 5 year deals, it really frees it
yeah,
up so much.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think as it stands, we're looking okay.
Yeah,
Right,
no,
I
we're
think
good.
that'll do us. We've done about half hour. We've got one more week really until Newcastle, so I think the plan is next week. Me, you, and Azzy are going to do our Premier League like table predictions, Villa predictions. We might get someone else on with us as well, just to get a different opinion. And yeah, keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for the TikTok stuff because we're uploading daily at the moment, different stuff. So yeah, our numbers are getting really good. So thanks for all the support. Everyone that's paying attention, we're getting quite a few nice comments here and there. So we appreciate that. And yeah, Jay, anything else?
No, no, I'm just looking after that game last night. I was looking forward to the start of the season. I'm looking forward to the two games this weekend to see again, like what you said. Whoever plays with Bezo, that back four you'd imagine will be the back four. Personally, for me, I'd like to see Bezo, Cash, Conser, Mings, and a Matson. But again,
Yeah,
if he plays if he ends up playing Bezo, Bogard, Conser, Torres, and Luka Dean, again the depth is good and the depth is sound, and I just can't wait for the season to start. And Newcastle being one of our biggest rivals, the summer window they've had, will Isak play? Will he not? they're all about Nicholas
Yeah,
Jackson. If they sign Nicholas
they're a
Jackson, he
bit all
can't
over
even
the
play
place,
first
aren't
game
they?
of the season. So
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like I think there was murmurs yesterday about them coming in for Watkins. I think their last three striker options is Jackson, Openda, and Watkins. It's just wild, and it's just I just can't wait. Like it's been such a long summer where you just want to get back into the swing of things and get back, working your week and thinking, oh, okay, it's okay. I got Villa now on the weekend, so I just can't wait for it.
No, I know, mate. Not long now. I think we've got 8 days to
Nope.
go from tomorrow. So, yeah, perfect. That'd do. And yeah, we'll be on next week, probably early next week, or Tuesday, Wednesday, kind of time to do our table predictions for the season. But yeah, up the Villa. Thanks for watching.
Not the Villa.